Welcome back, everyone. As promised, I'm here with Charlotte's very own Renaissance man, Rick Lazes. Rick,
how you doing,
Thanks for having us.
Nice to see you.
Thank you for taking the time. So Rick, where to begin? Tell me about yourself.
I grew up in New York, lived in New Orleans for 20 years.
Yeah.
And then moved to Charlotte after Katrina destroyed pretty much everything, my home, my office. It was time to move to higher ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when you moved to this house here?
Yeah, I moved here to Lake Norman.
Yeah, in Lake Norman area. Okay, perfect. Charlotte mostly knows you, I guess, for your creativity and the arts and the entertainment business, but you're an inventor as well, too. Tell me about that.
I'm actually a carpenter is what I am.
Okay.
Okay, I started out, building cabinets and renovating houses.
Yeah.
I like to build stuff. It's pretty much still what I do.
Yeah.
But when I was in New Orleans, I was a concert promoter, doing shows in the Superdome. And a friend of mine was in the oil business and told me about problems with oil spills.
Yeah.
And kind of as a lark, I sketched out an idea for a way to maybe mitigate oil spills. And he and I filed for a patent, formed a little company, and tested out the product, which is called the auto boom. It's an oil containment boom that contains the oil during an oil spill. And we formed this little company and grew it from a mom and pop company of 2 or 3 people, ended up as a public company on the New York Stock Exchange with, now has over 2,000 employees. And it's now the standard worldwide for containing oil in about 60 countries.
Yeah.
And we cleaned up the Exxon Valdez oil spill and the BP oil spill, despite Anderson Cooper throwing his arms up every night about the worst environmental disaster of the century, which it was, a horrible oil spill, pumping millions of gallons of oil, raw oil into the ocean. We cleaned up 95% of that oil and then recycled 90% of what we contained. So we're still working today. We're actually on 2 spills right now, one in Europe and one in South America.
Yeah.
They're small spills, but there are spills almost every day.
Well, I mean, it's just incredible because even besides the patent and all the financial aspects behind it, I mean, just the fact that you're doing something out there to really help mitigate the oil and the problem out there with the whole thing. So that's really nice. So let's talk about your creativity. So you do a lot of 3-dimensional sculpting and other projects as well that I've seen online. Can you go ahead and dive into that a little bit and let me know about it?
I'm a 3-dimensional artist because I like to build things. I work in all different mediums, from wood to marble, stainless steel. I'm shown in 7 or 8 galleries across the country and in Paris and in Germany.
Yeah.
And I currently have a show also in a museum that's touring the country right now. Yeah, Paper Dolls actually grew out of a project that I was doing focusing on famous fashion designers. Yeah. And I did people like Stella McCartney, Anna Sui, Gucci, Givenchy, and someone gave me a book about Alexander McQueen on my birthday 6 years ago, and I realized on his worst day he was better than all the other designers on their best. Yeah. So I started working on a series of 3-dimensional sculpture that were focused on Alexander McQueen's work. And still working on that project, actually. It's ongoing. And actually one of the things that I think distinguishes me both as a producer and as an artist is my ability and my desire to collaborate. And for instance, in my art world, I work with Paul Vito and Dana Gingras, who are themselves amazing artists. And most of the work is collaborative in nature.
All this work that's going on from art to music, so where do you draw your inspiration from?
Mostly from other people. I think that working with other people is always an exciting part of my creative process. Yeah. When I start making a sculpture, it always comes from the visualization of that concept. Currently working also, in fact, this week we're opening a show in New York in Times Square with the Costume Industry Coalition. It's a group of 60 small shops that build all the costumes for Broadway. Oh, nice. They got completely bypassed by the federal government and didn't get any of the federal funds, so they're all on the verge of bankruptcy. And Lin-Manuel Miranda from Hamilton, and Sarah Jessica Parker, and Hillary Clinton are all working with a group of us to produce an installation on Broadway that starts next week and will run for 2 months. And we have 100 costumes from various Broadway shows, from Hamilton, Lion King, Wicked, the Radio City Rockettes, and all the costumes are on display. So that's an exciting project. And again, it was one that Dozens of people participated in because it's large, it's 25,000 square feet. And we spent 6 months, again, during pandemic, you know, developing that project, and it kind of celebrates the reopening of Broadway. You know.
So Rick, were there any pivotal moments in your childhood that set you on your path?
My parents were very influential in my creative direction. They were both musicians. My mom was a music teacher. She taught piano. My dad was an English teacher. And they always encouraged me to follow my instincts. You know, there were never any boundaries. There were guardrails, but not boundaries. You know, but they were always very supportive and were willing to let me be creative and take risks. That's one of the reasons I'm so attracted to Alexander McQueen and working on the Broadway show about McQueen, is because he lived his life to the max. You know, he took every risk possible, he pushed every boundary, and was an amazing creative artist, and in my view, one of the most talented fashion designers of the last 100 years.
Well, it's great that you had your family backing you up, because I firmly believe that, you know, having that family foundation for your support is key for your confidence and just even future success. So, you know, as you're growing up through life, and you're impressionable.
And then moving to Charlotte also was a transitional experience, because having lived in New York and New Orleans, Charlotte, being a southern town, really welcomed us, and it was a really positive experience to go to a new city and be welcomed into the fabric of the neighborhood. And that's kind of what encouraged us, my son and myself, Noah, to develop the Music Factory, because we realized that there was an interest in music and arts, and Charlotte is coming of age now, and so it's grown up, you know, in the last decade really, to where it's a real metropolis. The landscape is amazing. You know, the restaurants are great, and there's a really great opportunity for artists and musicians to practice their craft.
All right, everybody, up next, we're gonna take a boat ride on a Supra with my buddy JJ, and he's gonna show us a thing or two about wake surfing. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, thank you for watching the entire time. We are at our final leg today of the Lake Norman tour. In fact, it's my favorite part. We're actually on Lake Norman. I'm here with my buddy JJ and his Supra, and he's gonna give us a tour by boat and show us a thing or two about water sports. Welcome, thanks for having us.
Absolutely, anytime.
Yeah, so first off, tell us about the boat that we're on.
It's a 2018 Supra. It's a wake boat. I've been in wake sports all my life, so as soon as I moved here, first purchase.
Yeah, now tell us more about wake sports.
I've been doing it my whole life. I was sponsored to wakeboard growing up. Surfing has blown up and pushed the boats way farther and better than when I was a kid. You can do it at all ages. Kids can do it. Older adults can do it. It's really grown lake life and sports beyond what I imagined.
So you're interchanging some terms. So we've got wakeboard and surfing. What's the difference between the two?
Wakeboarding, your feet are strapped in. You got bindings, a lot higher speed. You're talking 23 miles an hour for professional riders. Wake surfing, you're right at 11. Your feet are not strapped in. It's actually a mini skimboard that you would see on the ocean, or a mini surfboard.
Well, everyone, that concludes our episode today. Thank you so much for watching. We had a great time on Lake Norman. Tune into the next episode where we will dive into the local music and art scene in Charlotte. Ciao.